Hello and welcome everyone. I'm your host Alec, and we are happy to kick off this kind of new series of sessions where we connect our builders directly with our vertical leads at Ton Foundation for the latest insights, updates, news, and for some direct introductions and interactions as well. And today we are diving deep into one of the Ton's most dynamic verticals, which is decentralized finance. And to guide us about this, thanks, I'm incredibly pleased to have Vlad Degen, who is a Ton Foundation's DeFi lead with us here today. And Vlad will be sharing an overview of the current state of DeFi on Ton. And after his presentation, we will open the floor for a Q&A session. And you can start leaving your questions in the chats, in the live chats, wherever you are watching this session. And those of you who are on Zoom, you will be able to unmute yourself and you'll be able to ask a question aloud with your voice by the end of this live session. And yeah, I think that covers the introduction part. And now we can get right into it. So Vlad, I believe you're here among panelists. Hello. And first of all, thank you so much for being here to kick it off. And please tell us briefly about who you are, and then the floor is yours.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me well? Is everything
Yes,
okay with the?
we do hear
Okay,
you well.
perfect. So I'm Vlad Degen. I'm the DeFi lead at the Ton Foundation since the last summer. Today we're going to talk about the DeFi in general, about the vision, about our goals for this year, and about the support, what you could receive from the foundation being a DeFi protocol. So let me know, or should I share the presentation or you will share the presentation?
I think it's better to make it on your side so that you have all the controls. And
Okay.
yeah, I think I have given the permission to start the screen sharing, and let's check it out.
Yes. So should we wait for more people?
Uh, I think we have only those who registered on the Builders portal here on Zoom, but the majority of the audience are watching it on YouTube live. So YouTube views will be enough. And yeah, let's try to check if everything works with screen sharing. Uh-huh.
Okay,
Can
is
you please?
everything
Mhm.
fine?
Yeah, could
Yeah,
you
I
please
already
make it full
shared the
screen?
screen. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it works. And yeah, in the meantime, there is another live session from Portugal, from the Ton at NFC Summit. And yeah, I hope that the audience will find the right link to join our session here today. And yeah, by the way, I just wanted to remind everyone that we were also hosting a Q&A session on Slido. It is a place where you can upvote some existing questions or ask your question in advance before the session started. So if you will be uh, sending any questions in the Slido, please make sure to check out all the previous ones. Probably someone already asked the same question before you. And I will be checking out the live chats on YouTube, the live chat here on Zoom, and the live chat or the questions on Slido. And after that, yeah, we will go through the questions by the end of this session. And now it seems like everything is fine. Everything is set up. Vlad, the stage is yours. I think we can start with the presentation part and then continue with the Q&A in something like 20, 25 minutes.
Okay, so I guess we have like 15 minutes for this. Yes.
All right.
This is the Ton Builders call about the DeFi, let's say DeFi edition. And I want to start with the goals for this year. We do have actually four major goals right now. And we will go one by one. The first one is creating an open and supportive decentralized ecosystem of the financial tools. And that's actually the Ton Builders portal as a single platform for applying uh, to receive any kind of support from the foundation. It also means that we will contribute in the DeFi standards. It means that we will have events during this year. It means that we will have the DeFi builders chat with all of the announcements and future launches of the protocols or new stable coins, new partners on Ton. So that's the first one, to make, let's say, a unified support channel and that decentralized ecosystem. The second one is resolving infrastructural needs. It means the GBTC, it means bridges, it means OFT standards of layer 0. So to make Ton more composable across the whole crypto and the DeFi in general across the ecosystems. The third one is the utilization of the Ton coin in DeFi and increasing demand for it. So that's the type of the protocols which are mostly work with the staking Ton. We had even the new ones. So as you remember, we had Ton stakers, BMO. We had a new one is K-Ton. And the idea here is actually building not only the staking, but also the leverage in staking, including the lending protocols, and the teams behind the lending protocols right now working on that. The last one is actually the most important one in terms of the vision, is creating a first successful case of simplified DeFi in Ton, or it's a DeFi for retail. And we're gonna uncover what exactly it means. And that's actually the part of the vision for the Ton network in DeFi. So in general, if we will jump into understanding how the DeFi works, we could say that we have a shelves, let's say branch shelves or the categories. You're gonna go to DeFi Llama, you will open each DeFi chain, and you will find that the first 10 protocols are the same. They are mostly lending protocols, DEXs, paired DEXs, yield trading, and bridges also. And that's enough in terms of the competition between the EVM chains. But for Ton, that's not enough, because the most powerful competitive advantage of Ton, actually, that's the Telegram. And there is no such a connection with a social network in any other EVM chain or non-EVM chain. It's only Ton had this advantage. And competing with other EVM chains, with innovations in DeFi or with innovations in the blockchain itself, like time of finality, scalability, decentralization, etc. That's the regular way, actually, how all of the blockchains are going. So we are seeing Sei, Sui, Bira Chain, Aptos. What they're trying to do, they're trying to compete inside of the innovations in the DeFi and crypto in general, but they don't have the layer of the distribution, which we have, actually. That's Telegram. And for us, our ecosystem shelves or categories should look a bit different. So we actually already have this core DeFi layer. You can go to DeFi Llama, you can check. We do have DEXs, lendings, we do have paired DEXs, we're able to do the yield trading. We have our own Pendle Finance, it's called FIVA. We have swap aggregators, and we're now having a bridges. This year was Layer 0 launched, a couple more will be soon. And this is actually the layer of, let's say, functions for the decentralized finance. But to make the DeFi for retail, we need a couple more. So we need the underlying layer, a real yield layer. Is a layer where the mostly protocols which able to provide scalable yield source for the capital. So it could be RWA tokenized yield, it could be yield-bearing stablecoins, it could be staking farming wallets. All of this is based on the yield sources. The yield sources also could be different. It could be even external yield sources like RWA. But the idea here that that's the underlying layer. On top of this layer, we have a core DeFi layer or functional layer. It means that we are able to do the leverage on this yield, or we are able to jump in from any token to necessary token for especially this yield protocol. But those two layers could be enough to compete with other chains, but not enough for us. Why? Because all of those terms like impermanent loss, interest rates, utilization, they are very, very foreign for the Telegram users. And we need to have another one layer on top. That's a layer of the Tone mini apps for the retail, where all of those tools are going to be simplified for the retail to the level of their understanding. And the level of their understanding is usually the neobanks infrastructure. So it's just one button if you want to do the deposit. It's just one button if you want to do the borrow. It's just one button if you want to do the transfer, or if you want to swap from one currency to another currency. They doesn't care about the gas fees. They doesn't care about the seed phrase, even though they even don't know the words like interest rates and permanent loss, etc., etc. So in the combination of those three layers, we could get the financial tools or the mini apps, which are, let's say, like decentralized neobanks. So we could go deeply, and I will share my personal thoughts how the application combining three of these levels could be how it could work and how it could looks like. So the first layer, that's the real yield layer. So let's say we could have the RWA yield source, could be T-bonds. And the concept is work very, very simple. We could take Undo Finance, for example. We could breach the stable coins from the other chains on Ton, or we can create a native one. User just providing USDT, then the minting contract is minting the yield-bearing representative derivative, and then the user will be able to stake this representative derivative and receive yield-bearing stablecoin, like Ethena concept. And the yield is going from the RWA yield source off-chain. So again, user just came in providing USDT. For the amounts of USDT, a user will receive the one-to-one derivative, could be the stablecoin. Then this USDT is generating yield and external yield source, and the yield then going to staking contract, and the user could stake his one-to-one derivative inside of the staking contract, receive yield-bearing derivative. So that's the protocol behind the yield source layer. Going next to the core DeFi layer, how we could leverage this yield. Easy, we could use the lending protocol, and inside of the lending protocol, user able to provide his yield-bearing stablecoin from the previous layer to supply, and then borrow the minted stablecoin or one-to-one representative and do the looping through the staking contract, where a user will be able to get the high API. And that's actually the strategy which is very common for EVM, for Ethereum, for Ethena, for Falcon USDF, for Resupply USD. So that's already working, but that's working for the, let's say, Ethereum OGs. And for the Telegram, we need to have another one step. That's actually the simple Telegram mini app, which is looking like a bank application where you have a card, where you're able to do transfers, you're able to receive some funds, you're able to earn, and the earnings are generated by the yield sources as we discussed previously. So here's the example of the full cycle finance economy, even full cycle finance life for the user. You're able to open account in this application, top up this application, earn some yield, and spend it via just regular card payments on a daily basis. So this is the vision right now about simplified DeFi applications for the retail users, combining three layer of the ecosystem. And that's what we are trying to build right now. So that's about the vision, and that's actually what means create the first successful case of simplified DeFi or the DeFi apps for the retail. Want to also share some information about the upcoming launches. So, as you know, we had the collaboration with Ethena and also with Tether Gold. Soon gonna be FDUSD. We are right now preparing all of the announcements and integration. Then it's going to be TGBTC with the Tom Teleport. They're going to be the, let's say, the most unique bridge from Bitcoin to other blockchain in the whole crypto space. Why? Because this bridge is based on the Ton validators and it's permissionless, fully decentralized. It's not like a RAP protocol. That's not a custody behind or people who are minting for you the WBTC. That's a fully decentralized, permissionless bridge. And then the Telegram bonds. So that's another concept. We are working on the bonds tokenization to actually give another yield source for Ton users and for the retail users. That's about the upcoming launches and plans. The other part to discuss today is actually our new approach to ecosystem support. So we do have this Ton Builders portal. That's actually the single platform to request ecosystem support from all of the teams. What you need to do, you need to go to this platform, register, and then request ecosystem support. Support from the Ton Foundation gonna be divided between different type of protocols and different type of categories. So we will have contenders and the champions, and then there will be the different type of support for those two categories. So let's uncover this. We do have couple categories inside of the Ton ecosystem for the teams and protocols on different level of their evolution. So the first one is the MVP. It's just to launch or the pre-launch stage, and we have such a support programs. That's a Ton Nest, is education and mentoring and networking across the Ton ecosystem. Also Ton Hubs, events to connect, to learn, some hackathons. Then we have regular Ton Builders calls. It's going to be like this one, maybe sometimes more technical, less technical, and all of the developers' documentations and chats. For protocols who already post MVP with already some tractions, let's say on the stage of growth, that could be the marketing boost, official media promos, Telegram App Center listing, and featuring. And also there is Ton family chats with community of Ton founders, partners, and of course, investors. And there's some kind of support from our partners, like credits for audits from TonBeat or credits from AWS services. And the last one is the products, which is, let's say, the champions. So there is already fundraising access, demo days featuring to that Ton VC club. We don't have our group of friendly VCs where we are sharing the deals and we're sharing the information about the champions inside of the Ton ecosystem. That's the listing help on exchanges and also CoinMarketCap and the CoinGecko. That's the Telegram support, official verification, and fragment support to build the user acquisition funnels. So diving deeply in the support in terms of the project tires. So two tires, champions and the contenders. And for us, that's the understanding of, let's say, how we able to give our power and our support for the protocols and Ton, because we actually not able to help anybody in the ecosystem. We want to see that the protocols are firstly looking on the project like on business. So our best case, our best success, if you are seeing the opportunity, if you will know how you could earn money, you will test it like a hypothesis. And then you will see, okay, that's working. We could have some revenue there. You start growing. And for us, that's most efficient and amazing case to support you. Our goal is to help you grow your own business inside of the Ton ecosystem. We will have the criteria for the tires. So about these criteria on the DeFi tires, we will talk a bit later. But in general, the champions will get the fast track to our support programs on the Builders portal. We'll have exclusive support, and that's actually how the division between the two tires is gonna look like on our side. For the DeFi, what it means, what kind of criteria do we have? So the strong traction, that's the champions. That's after $5 million in the TVL and 10 mil monthly volume. That's the champions. The champions will get the best level of the support at what we could give to them. Then there is moderate traction and the early traction. That's contenders. So we're also considering to, let's say, to name the champions, all of the teams who are participating in our contests, like the Curve contest or the JMix or the Jupiter, and we will give them our support too. To clarify a bit more between the champions and the contenders, the champions will get the mentorship from the vertical leads in terms of the listing on its access, in terms of the DeFi integrations, in terms of the ecosystem support, in terms of the interoperability. Then there's going to be dedicated account management from the ecosystem support team, top-level marketing, grants, and custom access to other support programs. For the contenders, there is a general access to ecosystem support based, of course, on the stages. And that's the guidance from vertical leads, and sometimes that could be partnerships, intros. It's going to be depend on the type of protocol you are doing and the impact for the ecosystem. So you could go and register to our Ton Builders portal and follow our Ton Builders channel. There are going to be more updates there. They're going to be the tech at DeFi, where we will share all of our upcoming launches. We will share the information about our reports and our future plans. So that's actually it. And there is a time for questions. I'm happy to uncover more details. So I'll give you the word.
Yeah, thank you so much, Vlad. And I think that was really useful in terms of the format of this kind of calls, because this kind of format has been missing for a long time up until now. And now we have more time for the Q&A part. And we have a bunch of questions on Slido. We have some questions in the chat, in the chats on both sources. And let's start one by one. We can probably go back and forth between those people who want to ask a question with voice and those people who are leaving the questions on Slido. So whoever wants to ask a question on Zoom, please raise your hands and I'll be giving you the permission to turn on your microphone and you'll be able to ask a question. And before that, let me just quickly go to Slido and start checking out the questions. Probably I will share the screen as well, because I will be much more comfortable to see the questions. And yeah, probably now it's visible. And yeah, so we have over 20, almost 28 questions. And let's start by the most liked questions and upvoted questions. So the first question says, with the introduction of simplified DeFi in wallet, how does Ton Foundation see the role of DeFi protocols evolving?
So the wallet actually is open to discuss any kind of integrations, and the wallet, that's one of the powerful tools inside of the Ton ecosystem with a lot of users. And for them also, that's one of the ideas how to become a retail financial application. So it's going to be dependent on what type of protocol or what type of feature you are doing. But if we're going to talk about the earn page, there is already exist on the wallet and the Ton space, where are the Ethena integrated. And all of those integrations are appreciated. It's going to be depend on the, as I said, the features and the type of the integration, but we are happy to help you.
Okay, so let me just quickly check if we have any raised hands on Zoom. Seems like no. And yeah, let's then go one by one. The next question on Slido says, last year, Ton was heavily focused on growing TVL. Which metrics are currently the most important for evaluating DeFi success on Ton? TVL, trading volume, UAW.
To answer directly on this question is more like active users, retail users. To answer it a bit more deeply and complicated, the thing is that competing for the TVL, that's not our path. Why? Because if we're gonna talk about the DeFi OG, which let's say myself is a DeFi OG, I personally have my own funds, and I will go from the blockchain to the blockchain where is the APR higher. And I'm a fully like let's say the fund manager, my own funds, and I trying to find the best yield source. In this case, if we're gonna compete, that's a lot of resources should be invested in the innovation and the upgrading the blockchain, which we are doing. But we will miss the most competitive advantage which we have right now. That's a telecom. And the major idea right now for the DeFi is to uncover those Telegram users in the DeFi. So it's making simplified applications. And I even would love to say that the term DeFi shouldn't be here for those users. That's actually the financial tools inside of the Telegram, a financial ecosystem. And the user they mostly they didn't know all of those fancy words which we are knowing and which we are operating. For them, it should be as maximum simple as possible, and that's solutions which look like neobanks mostly. And if we will try to uncover the KPI of the success for those for this type of applications. That could be the monthly active users, that could be the active wallets for the balances, that could be also some part of the TVL, but from the retail users, not from the EVM OGs. But of course, it's dependent on the yield source, and in general, the Ton and the Telegram could become a distribution channel even for the protocols on the different chains. Because if someone already created the protocol like Kunde Finance or a Falcon or Athena on EVM, they could breach their assets because all of them are composable right now, very, very good composable, like USD and SUSD. They could breach them on Ton, and then they could test a lot of hypotheses how to attract retail users into their applications with their features. In general, why? Because even Ethereum users, Curve users, Uniswap users, the most of them, they're not retail. And the biggest challenge actually for all of those DeFi protocols, because they have the freedom of finance. Yeah, you should have responsibility. You should do a lot of security stuff around, but you have more freedom. The problem is the learning curve, and the problem is the distribution. And with Telegram and Ton, we are able to do this distribution. So that's the thing.
Okay, so that really makes sense. I would totally agree here with you. And let's check out what we have next. So no hands so far, no people on Zoom willing to ask questions, but let's come back to Slido then. Oh yeah, Bogdan, your hand is up. You can now unmute yourself and ask a question.
Hi, I was writing actually a couple of them in the chat. but I'll just, use my voice. So I was curious about like one maybe major thing. There's two groups, which is like champions and contenders, and on the first glance, it seems like there is like a huge gap, and like between them, like first one like contenders, it's like really two like starting projects, which would make sense. And I think the lower like kind of grade for a champion is something about like 1 million tvl. And honestly, within like the current state of the ecosystem and stuff, that seems pretty big. And I was curious, what is your like suggestion and what kind of steps you would perform in order to um, come from one group to another? Like, what's if you were building something at the moment, what will be your kind of focus points to grow to that kind of first step of the champion group?
Initial investment and connection to LPs, also commitments for the liquidity to your protocol. If your protocol, the major metric with the TVL, if that's about the volume, then resolving the problem to achieve this volume, make it as efficient as possible, like Swap Coffee did it, like Rainbow did it, like Tonka did it. So the one side of this is innovation. And we had, for example, two CPM indexes, DDAST and StoneFi. Then the team from Algebra come into play, and they made the CLMM protocol, which are sometimes during the day right now taking the first place in the commissions from the whole ecosystem. So that's the first path. That's the innovation. The second one is having the pre-commitments and the liquidity. It means that you should know some VC, or you should know some early miner, or you should know someone who had TON or USDT, and should build the protocol with them or for them.
Question arises, like let's say I'm kind of trying to go through the journey, and when reaching out to someone with those tones, the only kind of answer I got recently is that you have to get a little bit bigger, and then we can do this. And how would you how would you answer that? Like how to grow that, let's say today, what's the best approach in your opinion?
I do believe there is two approaches. Look, I've been a builder. I already that's my this is 6 years in DeFi. And I built protocols on Everscale, on Tezos, on Clayton, and there is no magic pill to achieve and track the TVL. If you're making the protocol, if it's an innovative protocol, you could get some degens if they have some liquidity and if they see the opportunity. If you're just building another one protocol, which are another one DEX or another one staking, but in the competition, is not something unique. That's going to be very hard to get the liquidity on any chain, though. And for that, I know only two models. So there is only one is the innovation. The second one is the building protocol with some kind of fund or some people who already had money, and they could be your first baker. And that's the path how you could grow.
Yeah, regarding the questions, I was just kind of typing to the chat. You mentioned curve contest. Could you just tell a little bit more? I think I just missed that one. What's that, and what kind of contest we could be getting ready for? And is there is any kind of contest like we had before, like Open League, like within from like let's say Town Foundation plant in the next 6 months, let's say.
So we just finished actually the competition with the JMX, and during the last half of the year from the DeFi, it was the curve contest. So we partnered with Michael to build actually stable swaps on Ton. We got two winners, Torch and the Kuton. Right now, Torch is becoming actually very good protocol with a lot of the TVL there, and That's the contest usually to cover some kind of niche in DeFi. So we made it for paradoxes, we made it for the aggregators. Right now, I'm thinking to make another one about the C elements, but this is still in negotiations. But the contest was mostly to cover the DeFi core directions. Right now, the contests could be about the user acquisition from the Telegram to the DeFi. The contest could be about making, let's say, decentralized neobanks. So there is still on the table, but soon you will see some updates in terms of what you could do for the ecosystem.
Okay, and I think I can also add here that we will be hosting something like ecosystem calls as well, not only DeFi specific, and probably we will disclose all of the future programs and activities on such kind of calls too. Okay, Bogdan, I hope that answers your question. Let's then, let's then come back to Slido, and yeah, when there will be other raised hands, we'll come back to oral questions again. The next question says, is Stone Foundation planning to incentivize trading volume on DEXs, for example, through trading rewards or liquidity mining?
Right now, we are thinking about incentives only for the retail to attract and acquire users from Telegram. The other part of the incentives, if we are doing them on DEXs as a liquidity mining campaign, or if we're doing it on the volume, they are very, very artificial, and the liquidity is coming into play and then going out. Why? Because they are mostly chain agnostic, and that's not Telegram first, and they're not users from Telegram in general. That's a user from the whole crypto and from the whole DeFi. To launch another one incentive campaign, we need to upgrade our ecosystem to have more stickiness. That's actually what we are doing right now for all of the major DeFi protocols, because they are the champions and we are helping them to, let's say, upgrade the protocols. But in general, answering your questions, any future incentives will be considered only in terms of attracting retail users from Telegram.
Okay, so let's move on. The next question says, are there any targets or benchmarks Stone Foundation is aiming in 2025 in terms of TVL trading volume? What would be considered a successful 6 to 12 month?
So in the TVL, one of the targets right now is actually building leveraged staking and increasing the utilization of staked ton inside of the DeFi ecosystem. It's, let's say, the major goal for each DeFi ecosystem to utilize the main coin. If we could increase the number of staked ton in the ecosystem on the 50% during the year, that would be a successful metric. In terms of the TVL on the other tokens and the trading volume, the major idea here again is attracting the retail users, and we actually thinking right now about the hypothesis that we could test and help protocols to test them to achieve a user acquisition funnel from the Telegram to the DeFi, or let's say to the financial tools in general. So that's the major thing what we are focusing right now.
All right, so let's move on. And next question says, how does the Stone Foundation measure the impact of Open League? What worked, what didn't, and how is that informing future incentive design?
So I could answer from the DeFi perspective. The Open League was very successful actually for the prices of 100 and the 200,000. So those time were able to get like 150 millions of volume, or from 7 to 11 millions of TVL, but there is a TVL which is always relocating between the protocols and on between the seasons of the Open League. The major impact was actually the composability of the DeFi, because the Open League it was like a point system program based on which you could get a reward. And because of this point system, the protocols inside started collaborating between each other, like Storm Trade with EVA, and the users start finding the strategies to achieve the major, the major number of points to get the biggest reward. That was successful, and that's what I would love to re-implement in the future with our upcoming programs and with our also point systems. We're considering this for the Don't Report, for the TGBTC, but that's still on the table, is not released. But actually, the most important, as I say, that was the collaboration between the DeFi protocols. And for users, that's education and finding the best strategy to get as much as possible rewards.
Okay, and I see a couple of hands on Zoom. So Yulia, please go for it.
Hi everyone, can you hear me?
Yes, we do.
Good. Thank you very much. So my question is about the TVL. So you said that the Champions projects will be with TVL $5+ million. And the question is like, do you have any ideas how the projects can reach this TVL? I mean, I'll explain. Let's say the projects T10, for example, they are now having 100K TVL with ton support. So even with ton support, they don't reach this kind of TVL that you are requesting to reach the champions. This is the first case. And for example, the second case is Accord protocol that reached 2 million TVL with the help of the Open League, right? So this is a huge help for projects to reach the TVL. And even with this help, they couldn't reach these numbers. So do you have any ideas for projects how to reach such TVL to become champions? Thank you very much.
That was the question before. There is two types of strategies. The first one is to do the innovation, and the example is Tonka. So they didn't have any support from the foundation, not in the TVL, not in the incentives, but they do have 10 million TVL right now, and they do have sometimes more volume than Didas and the StunFi, without any kind of support. That's innovative approach. That's the first one thing. And the second one is having the pre-commitments and liquidity commitments from the VCs and early miners, building the protocol to utilize their funds. Could be also the case.
Yeah, thank you. I got your answer.
All right. And the next question comes from Dorian, please.
Hello. I have a question. We are really building something special on the Telegram mini apps, and DeFi is also part of it. My question to Vlad is, what could be the niche that we could focus now? Because as he mentioned, there's big giants that it's hard to compete against. Could be the empty one or the lowest one that we could focus on.
Sorry, I didn't get your question. Could you please repeat it?
The niche, yeah. What should we focus? There's a lot of DEXs, I understand, liquidity pools and stuff. What is the lowest one we could focus on?
So the niche that right now we are focusing on, that's the decentralized neobanks, and that's the DeFi applications for the retail. So you could use all of the available yield sources, leverage it with the DeFi, and provide the easiest UI and UX for the users. When we do have those use cases already. So, for example, you could provide liquidity to the Storm trade into the vaults, and you can get it in percentage on the USDT. You could do the leverage, and it's easy. You could use the lending protocols, but the thing is that all of these strategies and this kind of particular strategy is familiar for the DeFi OGs, but for the retail users, it should be the simple interface with the one-click button to do that. And on top of that, this also should be the user acquisition model, how you're able to, for example, spend money on advertisement and attract users, or which are going to provide liquidity, and you will earn a performance fee on that. So that's one of the examples which I'm seeing right now.
Okay, I think that answers your question, Tonian. So let's move on back to Slido. The next question says, how do you envision the retail TMA layer? For example, banking, saving apps, PayFi wallets, yield gaming, securely interfacing with the core DeFi layer?
That's actually the good question. As usual, one of the ideas that's the proxy contracts to make actually the architecture on top of the architecture of already existing contracts. And I think that's, let's say, the most usable case right now. Then you need to have audits, of course, and you need to have the risk assessment partners. One of them was which you are working right now, that's a Centaura. There's actually very powerful guys, and they're helping us to support the champions DeFi protocols. So I think implementation is the proxy smart contracts and the architecture of them, and the security behind is the audits and the risk assessment from the partners.
Okay, and let's see what's next. Are there specific cross-layer standards or middleware protocols planned to ensure seamless asset and data flow?
So the OFT standard right now, that's one of our focuses, to be able to bridge the tokens, especially yield-bearing stablecoins from other chains to TON. Another one, TON Teleport, of course. From the data side, I guess it's not a question about the analytics, it's a question of the transferring data between the layers. And yeah, we are also speaking with the wormhole, Axelar. That's already in line. One of our goals is actually to connect TON as much as possible with the different chains.
Yeah, let's see how it goes. And next question. It says, given that bridges sit in the core DeFi layer, what design choices are being considered to mitigate cross-chain fraud or double spend risks?
There's no possible to do the double spend or the cross-chain fraud. Like most of the biggest breaches actually had their own AML, even if they didn't say it, but they do have, because there's, let's say, the companies which are registered in some real physical places with real founders. Double spending, it's not possible with the breaches, with all of the breaches right now. The cross-chain fraud in terms of if someone gonna transfer stolen money, that's actually on the breach side, and breach is trying to prevent it with the IMLs and with embedded security. That's gonna work like with the USDC.
Okay, and I see Sean King is raising a hand, please.
Yes, hello.
Hello.
Hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I arrived a bit late. So if this question has already been asked, then forgive me. But I've seen the news recently about Pavel partnering with Elon Musk and X. I'm wondering if there's going to be a similar partnership with TON, and maybe that can be leveraged for DeFi. Because I know that Elon has talked before about he wants to have X as a kind of a payment platform, like similar to a Cash App. So I'm wondering if there's any kind of cooperation that can be had there, or if there's anything in the works.
Right now, no. But there's a cooperation between the Grok and the Telegram. So I didn't see right now any kind of ideas how it could be connected with the DeFi. If you do see, you share it with us.
Okay. So you're saying the cooperation that Pavel mentioned is with Grok, not with X?
Sorry, say it again.
Are you saying the cooperation that Pavel mentioned is with Grok, not with X?
The Grok and the Telegram.
Yeah. So it's not with X. It's with Grok. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm so sorry to but I think that's a bit irrelevant for. I mean, that's not related to the focus of DeFi of today's call. So we are not able to comment that kind of questions about
I'm
other
just seeing if there's
companies.
any cooperation possible for Ton, is what I'm saying, for the DeFi. So
Yeah, for the DeFi, we like right now there's nothing on the table. All of the cooperation between the Telegram, Elon Musk, and the Grok, you could find all of the things in Twitter. They are actually speaking to each other very very good on X.
okay, all right, got it.
Thank you, Sean. And let's move on. So let's see what we have on Slido. Next question says, how will on-chain attestation of breached assets work in practice?
What means attestation?
Yeah, that's also something that I found a bit unfamiliar. Probably that's, yeah, please specify your question, the user with the nickname definitely, and probably we'll come back to your question later. And let's move on. Next question says, hello, what about instant swaps on layer 2 Ton? Factory did announce 1 month ago and no news since.
That's called mostly about player one, and we are not like that's, let's say, each team who is building any kind of layer extension or a layer two on Ton, they are doing it on their own as experiments. But we are, as a foundation, we are supporting the layer one and the teams from player one.
All right. So let's move on. For the RWA tokenized yield products in the real yield layer, how will the underlying real world assets be audited and tokenized?
So that maybe there's some misunderstanding here. If we're saying about if you're speaking about the real world assets, it could be it could be. There could be commodities, for example. That could be some pictures, some arts. That could be real estate from the one side. But that's very hard to actually to implement, tokenize, distribute, control, share the revenue, confirm the ownership. That's another level of integration for the whole industry. What we're talking about right now, that's the tokenization of the yield from external yield sources like treasury bonds, Telegram bonds. That's that's actually the biggest use case right now in the whole DeFi and the whole area industry in general. So that's what we are talking about. And in terms of the tokenization and in terms of the audits, that already exists. So it's easy to tokenize. Of course, you do need to have a partner with a strong legal, which going to be able to give you the permission to buy and sell some kind of bonds on the physical market. And this partner allow you to buy and sell, hold, control. Then you could tokenize it and through the different mechanics, you could give an access for retail to these tokenized bonds. So that's actually one of the things what we are working on right now in terms of the Telegram bonds.
All right. So let's see what's next. What on-chain governance oracles, for example, price feeds, asset audits, are envisioned to ensure transparent collateralization ratios?
Envisioned to ensure transparent collateralization ratios. So we do have a couple oracles right now. We are working with a Chainlink that could be integration with the Chainlink right now. I know that could be the problem for some kind tools and lending protocols. Then we do have PEEF. That's also one of the goodest solution, but that depends what kind of asset you wanna you wanna check the price feeds for taking it as a collateral. So if it's done, it's actually is already working, and you could build it on the Redstone. That's okay. And if it's the different type of assets, external assets, or if you want to build a synthetics protocol, it's gonna be fully depends on your case. But for the MVP, actually, you able even to do this by your own to test the hypothesis and not use the existing oracles. But if the hypothesis is going to be successful, you could go and speak with PEEF, and we could even help you speak with PEEF and Redstone to integrate your type of assets in the price feed for them.
Mm-hmm. And the next question comes from a pretty familiar project, Torch Finance, from Alan. How is the Ton Foundation approaching DeFi and the increasing importance of compliance for retail-focused products like yield-generating stablecoins or vaults?
Importance of compliance. I guess, Alan, you mean the problems and issues with the QIC if you want to do like a direct minting of the RWA or the bonds. In this case, there are already a couple of mechanics exist to avoid it. One of the ideas, what you could do, you could invite professional investor to mint something and then ask them to provide liquidity into the DEX with this minted RWA bond and the stable coin. And this professional investor becoming the one beneficiary from the arbitrage opportunities. A user is going to be able to buy from the DEX. At the same time, this pro investor able to do the arbitrage between the real bond market and the DEX market. So that could be such cases when you could avoid the direct minting and the direct interaction. Check how the Undo Finance work, or check even how the Falcon from the DWF and the USDF working. So that's the idea there, that they not allowing you, Ethena also, they not allowing you directly to mint USDE, for example, or USDF. And in case of USDF, you should pass the KYC. But what they allowing to you, they are incentivizing pools with these assets, and you're able to buy it directly from the DEX.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and I just noticed that, yeah, it's been an hour since we went live, and we were setting up this live session for 1 hour, and we still have 18 questions. Is that okay for you, Vlad, if we prolong the duration of our today's live session?
Yeah. We could do a couple more.
Thank you so much. And let's then quickly move on. And the next question says, regarding yield-bearing stablecoins, which peg maintenance mechanisms are being prioritized, and how do they adapt under extreme market stress scenarios?
That's a good question. So that's actually the question not for me, the question for the yield-bearing stablecoins protocols. But if we're taking the Ethena as an example, the yield-bearing stablecoin actually, and the USDE is based on the delta natural strategy between the spot trading and the futures trading. They're buying BTC on spot and they're shorting BTC on the futures, receiving the funding rate, which are the yield for the yield-bearing stablecoin, and that's actually the collateral for the stablecoin. and the path keepers as like our path maintenance. That's usually the economical mechanics between minting and redeeming, or between the minting and arbitraging with liquidations. So there's a fully depends on the structure of the protocol and the stablecoin, and it's different from Ethena to, for example, CRV-USD to DAI. They are different.
Mm-hmm.
The
Okay.
best case is over collateralization. It's usually the best case. That's why actually DAI survived for the last 5 years.
Yeah, let's then see what's next. What are the anticipated yield generation sources for yield gaming? Will rewards be directly funded by lending interest or protocol level token emissions? Does that
I don't
sound
know.
clear?
That's a good question. That depends on the mechanics. So if you want to create a yield gaming application, if you want to do any kind of yield without any kind of deposit, that's called Ponzi. So you could do the top to earn, for example. But the idea of the top to earn, if we will go deeply in behind, that those applications are actually selling to you some advertisement and taking your attention. For that, they are able to reward you with the token. But this idea was very nice last year, but it's not so sustainable. So in case of yield gaming, there is could be the different mechanics.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and how do you reconcile variable gaming incentives with sustainable long-term tokenomics?
Oh, that's a philosophical question actually, because I could give the story in 1-2 minutes. If you're playing the game and you really like this game without any kind of reward, and then I will start rewarding you for playing this game. And if I stop rewarding you, the question is, will you continue to play this game even if you like? And was philosophical experiment, that the most of the people wouldn't continue to play this game, even if they do like it, but without the reward, because your dopamine is generated more and more and more with the rewards, and then it's disappear. So that's the question of the game balances and the game theory.
Yeah.
And Alec, we are still answering the questions from only one guy. Like it's maybe there is someone else asking something.
Yeah, let me check. We have 3 or 4 people leaving questions on Slido, but they left a lot of questions. We have some anonymous question. Anonymous question says, what types of new DeFi protocols are you expecting? What is still lacking?
Leveraged staking. Nice protocols. More CLMM dexes. Also nice. The lending protocols with soft liquidations. That's what does not exist yet. Restaking is also not exist yet in let's say in a scalable case, in scalable cases. What else? What else? What else? This could be the pretty, but the thing is that the use case should be combined from the different levels of the ecosystem to onboard retail. That's the most important. And for this goal, we actually already have everything that we need. We need to build those kind of applications and build the user acquisition for that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And yeah, now we are coming back to the previous guy's questions, because the rest of the questions are from the same user account. Yeah, let's see what.
Let me choose the most interesting one.
Yeah, let me quickly scroll down.
Okay. Yeah. User journey. Oh, this was a nice one. Could you scroll a bit up? And up. Yeah, what's the expected user journey from a retail user in a DeFi wallet to engaging with the core DeFi primitives? So that's theoretical, but the Telegram itself, the most popular in the countries where are the financial tools actually very, very useful. And the thing is that Europe and US more regulated in terms of the neobanks and their functionality. At the same time, the CIS region is less regulated, and the innovations there is going more faster than Europe and US. And in terms of the user experience, what actually most of the people are doing, they are receiving funds, they are transferring funds, they are using saving accounts or deposits, they are using microloans or part payments. That's actually the biggest use case. Some of the banks allowing you to buy some stocks, invest somewhere, but in general, that's mostly it. Of course, there is additional functionality. There is a miles if you are flying everywhere around the world. There is cashbacks. There is loyalty programs there, but the major use case is transfer, save, spend, and that's it. That's mostly it. In general, if we could have some kind of neobank in Telegram, it could start with those couple primitives. Transferring and receiving files already easy, but you should do this gasless. So the user wouldn't need to have any gas token on the balance. And then saving account, you could do it with leveraged staking or just with a simple staking. The Ethereum could work, vaults from the Storm Trade could work, lending protocols could work, sometimes DEXs could work, dependence on the risk. And then you just need to integrate the credit card to give for the user the ability to pay on a daily basis. And by doing that, you're creating the full cycle. So you don't need to set up any other applications. You have everything in Telegram. You're opening this application. Of course, you do need to pass the KYC. Then you are topping the balance. You could use earning features, and then you could spend this balance during your daily basis payment. So that's ideal flow that I'm seeing right now. And the usage of the core DeFi primitives, there's actually the architecture of your yield inside of these applications.
Okay. Yeah, let's then move on. Will you pick another good question or?
Yeah. Let's have if there's any new questions from the other people. Yeah, okay. Let's choose the last one.
Yeah, the last one is actually about the attestation thing that we
No,
have
I
done.
mean
So
like let's choose the last one from this
oh yeah, the
person.
last question. All right.
Yeah, okay. Mhm. Which is the good one could be here. Launching. That one. In the real yield layer, especially RWA tokenization, what compliance and KYC, IMLs, all of the investor checks could be there. So there is, of course, a game between the different players. Right now, in the real physical market of the bonds and the stocks, you of course need to have, let's say, even the license to trade them. But such tools like eToro or Interactive Brokers, they are the broker. They do have this license, but they are giving to the retail users the power and the feature to buy those bonds, stocks. Of course, I actually tried to register their Interactive Brokers. There's so many contracts that you should sign in to be able to have like 1.5x leverage, just that. And there is a lot of restrictions and a lot of regulations. The thing is that even if the professional player exists and the professional player able to pass the KYB and the IML and able to buy some shares and the real world, he not able to put it anywhere. He could go to another one broker and sign a contract to get a loan, use these shares as a collateral, but that's the peer-to-peer instructions. In crypto, with the tokenization, actually this professional investor able to put these tokenized assets into the DEXs and the lending protocols. And it actually means that directly or indirectly, the whole ecosystem is receiving the benefits from all of that. So in this case, I believe that could be in two ways. One way is a KYC. So if you want to go and buy without the price impact, if you want to have like the best minting ratio, you're going passing the KYC, you're buying it. If you are a retail user and you want to buy it for $100 or $1,000, you could just go to the DEX where those professional investor provided funds, and you could buy it from the DEX. And in this case, actually, you are as a retail, you are not minting anything. So it's regulatory satisfied. And in terms of the lending protocols, if the professional player will go to the lending protocol and provide their some collateral of the bonds and shares, and then will take a loan, that's loan going to be in a stable coins with a borrow rate. So this professional player going to be paid his borrow rate to who? To people who provided USDT. So it's indirectly benefiting the whole ecosystem and users, even with these restrictions with the QAD and the IMA.
Okay, I think that question was answered. So, yeah, and it seems like we are coming towards the end of our today's session. And yeah, first of all, thank you so much, Vlad, for such an inspiring and useful and really valuable update from your side for answering all that questions. And those of you who were joining our live session, many thanks for your questions, many thanks for participation. And please note that this is just the beginning of our formats with the builder calls, because in the future we will be also covering all the other key verticals at Ton Foundation, like GameFi, like payments, etc. And yeah, this recording of our today's session will be available on our YouTube channel very soon, so you can rewatch it or share it with anyone else. And yeah, thank you so much once again. Have a fantastic rest of your day or night, and bye-bye, everyone.